Welcome. Good morning. My name is Heather Hodges, and I will be the worship associate this morning. I'm part of the team that's working to live stream this service to you wherever you may be. We are an inclusive congregation that welcomes you as you are, inclusive of all your identities, complexities, and situations. We welcome your whole self, even if it isn't fully assembled, because we recognize that we are all a work in progress and that we are all in this together. This service is being posted on our YouTube page and Facebook page so that folks can watch it again later. Feel free to share it with your friends. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. For this high purpose do we unite in worship. As we light this chalice, let us be reminded of the deep forces within us that are calling us to become more than what we are. May we be inspired to bring our gifts and love and service to the altar of humanity. We are not isolated beings. We are connected in mystery and in wonder to each other, to this community, and to the universe. And now MAISIE is going to give us a story for all ages.
The Wonderful Magic Spell by Jack Kent. The Wizard of Wallaby Walla had spells for turning folks into everything from aardvarks to zebras. Each spell was in a little bottle with a label on it. But everything was in such a mess. It took him hours to find the right bottle and the right spell. He decided to put them all in alphabetical order. He picked up a bottle and looked at it. It didn't have a label. I wonder what's in this bottle, he said to himself. Just then the doorbell rang. "Oh, geese fleece," said the wizard. He opened the door. He was so irritated. "Go away." There was a little mouse standing there. "Go away. I'm busy. Shoo, shoo." Now the mouse was used to people saying shoo to him, so it didn't bother him a bit. "I want to buy a magic spell. I am tired of being a mouse. People set traps for me. They chase me with brooms. I am tired of being a mouse. I want to be something else." The wizard thought about the little bottle he had in his hand without a label. "Here, you can have this, no charge," he said. "What will it turn me into?" asked the mouse. "Something else," said the wizard. "That's what you said you wanted to be." The mouse took the bottle home and looked at it. Maybe it will turn me into a butterfly. Oh, butterflies. But they don't live very long. Oh, no, a turtle would be better. Turtles live a long time. Oh, but turtles are so slow. Oh, not a turtle. Bees are fast. Bees would be great. Of course, bees have to work all the time. Be better to be an ant. I want to be an ant. Ants go to picnics. Oh, that's where ants get stepped on, isn't it? Oh, well, maybe not an ant. A bird. A bird sing happy songs. Don't birds eat worms? Oh, that quite turned his stomach. No, not a bird. Oh, well, Well, said the mouse, being me has its problems. But at least I know what the problems are. So he took the magic spell right back to the wizard. The wizard hardly knew him. Did my spell change you? Asked the wizard. Well, I guess it did, said the mouse. Oh, the wizard was very happy. That wonderful magic spell worked and is the only one that ever did. Thank you.
Now we're going to have a short meditation. If you'll sit up straight and close your eyes down, begin to inhale slowly through the nose, guiding your mind to follow that breath all the way in, filling the lungs and expanding the heart. Slowly exhaling that breath down into the earth, grounding you in this present moment. Still your mind and become the observer of your breath. Now cultivate gratitude for the things in your life that you really appreciate. Let yourself feel that gratitude in your heart. Long, deep breaths. Inhale and open your eyes. Come back to me.
My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down. My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down, down to the earth. My roots go down. I am a wildflower pushing through the stones. I am a wildflower pushing through the stones. I am a wildflower pushing through the stones. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down. I am a willow swaying through the storm. I am a willow swaying through the storm. I am a willow swaying through the storm. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down. I am a mountain reaching for the sun. I am a mountain reaching for the sun. I am a mountain reaching for the sun. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down.
The fellowship is not a place, it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and justice. The fellowship is not walls, stone upon stone held together by mortar, but rather person linked with person, all ages and genders and abilities. A community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The fellowship is not just a set of doors that's open on Sunday morning, but a commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts, creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and love for one another. The fellowship is not just this fine building, but it's the gathering together of all the people, the experiences, fear, love, and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering whenever we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache, pick up hope, and work together with us. For this fellowship is us, each and every one of us, together a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs us.
Jim Whitton is our speaker this morning. He and his wife Barbara are active members of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church and supporters of many arts and social services in Amarillo and Canyon. He grew up in North Carolina and graduated cum laude with a BA in history from Middlebury College in Vermont. He has previously worked with the Hunger Project, a global organization dedicated to ending chronic persistent hunger, where it is most widespread and severe around the world. Most recently, he's been volunteering with Storybridge to ensure greater early childhood literacy in our wider community. He's going to tell us about a project that he has in Storybridge partnering with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library Program. Here he is.
I'm here today because I have a serious bone to pick, and it's with a fairly well-known writer, one who sold over 7 million copies of his best-selling title. The author in question, Robert Fulghum, and his most famous title, All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Now, you may wonder why, of all the people in this uncivil, polarized world we live in, why would I choose Robert Fulghum to take issue with? Well, here's why. It's the title of his book and its implications. While it may have indeed been true for Robert Fulghum, it's sadly not a true statement for far too many of our children who have attended, who are, or who will be attending kindergarten. But it could be true for a lot more children. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about today is a severe lack in kindergarten readiness in our community and around the country, and how this deprivation can and does too often reverberate negatively through a child's entire experience of kindergarten, grades 1 through 12, and beyond. Now, my first exposure to this challenge came 6 years ago when a close friend of mine served on the North Carolina Board of Education. When he stepped down, I asked him if there was one primary takeaway that he could summarize coming out of his years of service. Without hesitation, he said the following: the biggest opportunity to make a difference in the experience and performance of kids in the K through 12 system is to intervene successfully in the kids' lives before they get to kindergarten. My next exposure to this challenge came in 2019 at the Mayor's Summit on Early Childhood Development, when Mayor Ginger Nelson hosted Dr. Ron Ferguson, a Harvard economist specializing in early childhood development. In a compelling 90-minute talk to business leaders in our community, he drove home the point that if we wait until kindergarten to start a child's education, we've already failed. He emphasized how the brain reaches 80% of its full physical development by the age of 3 and 90% by the age of 5, and how it is in those early years from birth to 5 that make up the most fertile years in every person's brain development. He also drove home the point that reading books and discussing them with children before they can read is one of the 5 most essential ingredients for healthy brain development. My third exposure to the challenge of kindergarten readiness came in the wake of the death of George Floyd. At that time, fellow parishioners at St. Andrew's created what they called the Beloved Community Series, a series of Sunday school classes where local leaders from the Black community were invited to come and speak with our class. In one session, when asked how St. Andrew's could help, Dr. Tamara Clunas of Amarillo College urged us to try and provide books to children in the North Heights. Well, one thing led to another, and a parishioner reached out to Storybridge, a local childhood literacy organization. We raised some money, and in December of that year, gave each of 400 plus students at Carver Early Childhood Academy a copy of Jabari Jumps, a book where an African-American child successfully faces his fears about jumping off a diving board and into a swimming pool. One of the most consequential outcomes of that book gifting effort was getting to know Chandra Perkins, the founder and executive director of Storybridge. For the past 5 years, while working primarily as an elementary school reading specialist for AISD, Chandra has built a volunteer-based children's book recycling system that has distributed, or I should say redistributed, more than 180,000 new and slightly used books to children through book fairs in Title I elementary schools. Now, why is that so important? Here's why. Because studies show that 2 out of 3 low-income households do not possess a single children's book. Yes, that's right. 2 out of 3 low-income households do not possess a single children's book. When it comes to playing with books and being read to, it's very hard to do it when there's not a single children's book in the house. Now, to give you a sense of what living without books can be like, I'd like to read an account from Chandra about one of the 3rd grade students she was assigned to assess in terms of grade level reading ability. And this is Chandra. Kim is a 3rd grader at Emerson campus where I work. Recently, I did her mid-year one-on-one reading assessment. She read several books to me and that day, and each time she finished one, I would hand her one either slightly harder or slightly easier, depending on the number and types of errors she made. Kim ended up on a mid-1st grade proficiency level, meaning that she will be labeled significantly below in reading. And Kim has an anomaly because she actually does enjoy reading. I asked her what kind of books she likes most. She said tornadoes and art. That's how you know she still likes it. Many kids in her position will just shrug it off at this point. She said she found one of each of these books in the library but couldn't check them out, or couldn't check both of them out because she owed money to the library, $20 for 2 unreturned books. Now, Kim's life has been defined by trauma. It's her normal. Drugs, abuse, incarceration, hunger. She herself is very small in stature and has terrible asthma that is heartbreaking to see her struggle with. I asked her if she had any idea where the books are. She said no. So she is at the mercy of the librarian now, who allowed her to check out one book, but sent her home with a red note saying she couldn't check out any more until they paid their $20. They don't have $20 for book fines. So Kim, who is 2 years behind and owns no books of her own at home, just had the book she's allowed to check out from the library cut in half, from 2 to 1 every 2 weeks, if she can prove she's responsible for that one book. She's 8 years old. This is 3rd grade. This is the fork in the road for Kim. Nothing has been her fault, but from here on, she's hanging on by a thread. What is she supposed to do? She has no bootstraps. She's 8. And if you think Kim is alone, let me show you a slide of the decline in kindergarten readiness in AISD over the past 5 years. In 2020, only 37% of all children started their kindergarten experience ready to learn to read. Now, in contrast, let me introduce you to Sydney, who is 3 years old and growing up in a home full of children's books since she was born. More Sydneys are what we are going for.
I want you to send me a pic. They sent me elephant. He was too big. I sent him back. They sent me giraffe. He was too tall. I sent him back. So they sent me lion. He was too
Fierce.
He was too fierce. I sent him back. So they sent me a camel. He was too grumpy. I sent him back. So they sent me a snake. He was too scary. I sent him back. So they sent me a monkey. He was too naughty. I sent him back. So they sent me a frog. He was too dumpy. I sent him back. They fought very hard and they sent me a puppy. He was perfect. I kept him.
Yay! Good job, Sid.
Around the time we met Chandra, my friend back in North Carolina heard about the gift that St. Andrews gave to Carver Elementary. And he told me that if book gifting to young kids is your calling, there's only one game in town, and that is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. What followed was a series of exploratory conversations to learn more about the Imagination Library and determine if we could and should bring it to our community. Now, here's a brief segment from the PBS NewsHour that describes the program and how it came to be.
Finally tonight, Dolly Parton's longtime passion project, passing on the gift of reading. The NewsHour special correspondent for education, John Merrow, has the story.
Most of you are probably familiar with Dolly Parton, but to some, Parton is more than a country music star.
Everywhere I go, the kids call me the book lady.
She wants to read it now.
The book lady? It's not surprising to these children.
I love reading books. Reading is my favorite thing.
My favorite was Tortoise and the Hare.
No, David, and David goes back to school.
Where did the books come from?
Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton sent me the books.
In 1996, Dolly Parton created what she calls the Imagination Library to send free books to homes like this one.
I like this one because it reminds me of my grandma.
If she hadn't had those books, she wouldn't have had anything until she started kindergarten.
Madeline and her great-grandmother, May Lee Barker, live in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Maddie was very quiet when she was little because she just moved around so much. She would always either have to be with her mother or her father.
Yeah.
And I think the books, she carried them with her a lot of times. I mean, that was hers. She had something that she could call hers.
The little girl has a great imagination like me. She thinks of a monster. It's a green monster right here. And the granny tells her not to worry.
We send these books to them in their little name, with their name on it. They look forward to going to the mailbox. This is theirs. This is mine. So I am going to either learn to read it or I'm going to make somebody teach me how to read it.
It all starts here at birth. At this hospital in her hometown of Sevier County, Tennessee, every newborn gets a free book.
I've been here 3.5 years at LeConte in the labor and delivery, and I have given probably 500 books to new moms.
Laughed and laughed at
Families in Sevier County can also sign up at the library. Each child receives 60 free books, one every month until age 5.
It really started out as a very personal thing for me, and it was originally just meant for the folks in my home county because of my dad. There were not books in our house growing up, and my dad could not read nor write. It was a very crippling thing for him. My daddy was such a brilliant man.
What started in one rural Tennessee county 17 years ago has spread to 1,400 communities across the United States, England, and Canada. Each affiliate raises money to pay for books and mailing, $2 each. The Imagination Library takes care of the rest, right here where it all began.
Our belief was that oftentimes the most powerful things are the most simple things.
David Dotson is president of the Dollywood Foundation. This international organization, with a $20 million budget, produces and distributes almost 700,000 books a month.
I think what we are about is the emotional tie to books, that if children love something, they will continue to do it.
Puff, puff, chug, chug with the little blue engine.
Both of the girls are excellent readers, just ahead of where they should be in reading.
Pick which one you want to read.
I think it makes a big difference when you have this huge library of books. There's so much to choose from. I don't know that we would be able to afford to buy all of those books for our children. And it's nice to know that we don't have to make that decision. We don't have to choose between a book and something else for the kids. That just comes to our mailbox.
Then you look to the right and then to the left.
The value of reading to children is well documented. Kids who have books in their homes and are read to regularly are more likely to succeed in school.
We can definitely always tell if a child's been read to at home. Their vocabularies are so much larger.
Rebecca Smock teaches pre-K at Pigeon Forge Elementary School.
Tools, but what do you use with a hammer?
To nail.
Nails, that's right. I think if you see if that literacy is a big deal at their house, then they're going to really, they just kind of embrace that more when they come to school. They're ready for it. Where's he sleeping?
In the flower.
In the flower.
Back through the years, I go wandering once again. The older I get, the more appreciative I seem to be of the Book Lady title. It makes me feel more like a legitimate person, not just a singer or an entertainer, but it makes me feel like I've done something good with my life and with my success.
Dolly Parton's Imagination Library has now given children almost 50 million free books.
Well, for us here in Amarillo, this news clip and other due diligence led us to forming a partnership between Imagination Library and Storybridge, which became a done deal with our official launch and first child signed up this past March. I'd like to introduce you to Amira, the very first child we signed up. Since then, over the past 7 months, we've signed up more than 2,300 children under 5. And here's how it works. On the right side of this slide, you see what the Dolly Parton Imagination Library is responsible for. Number one, they cover all the overhead administration costs. Number two, they are responsible for the book ordering system and for ordering all the books, and they have a blue ribbon book selection committee to choose the books that are age appropriate from birth to 5. And lastly, and perhaps most largely, they're responsible for shipping books each and every month to each child's home in the child's name. So that's their responsibility. So where do we come in here in our local community? Well, that's through the local affiliate of Storybridge. We have 3 responsibilities. Number one, we sign up the kids. Number two, we promote the program community-wide. And number 3, we here in our community pay for the books. A total of $2.10 per book, per month, per child. Now, one of the most impressive aspects of this program is the ongoing frequency of contact with each participating child. The fact that a book arrives each month keeps novelty in the program, and that novelty is a factor in the books feeling like presents as opposed to charity. Another aspect is our Born to Read 806 program, which currently provides a new board book to each infant born at Northwest Texas Hospital. And more recently, if the baby lives in Potter or Randall County, they get signed up from the start to getting Imagination Library books right away, amassing a 60-book library by the time they turn 5 years old and graduate from the program. Now let me close with how we got here so far and where we hope to go with this unique partnership between Storybridge and Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Well, in large measure, the success of our launch to date has been thanks to contributions and 3-year pledges from generous individuals, families, and churches, including some members of this great fellowship. People who make a commitment of at least $1,250 a year for 3 years make up what we call our founder circle, that amount and higher. We currently have 12 members and are aiming to reach 20 or more before the end of this year. Just to paint the picture, by joining the founder circle at $1,250 per year for 3 years, you are giving 50 children brand new books mailed to their home for free each month for 3 years. That's 600 books in all. But the hallmark, or a hallmark of this program, is its affordability. At $2.10 per book, including shipping, you can sponsor a child for only $25. So no matter how many children you decide to sponsor, 100% of your contribution goes towards the cost of books and postage, none of which is used for overhead, either locally or at the Dollywood Foundation. In Potter and Randall County, there are approximately 17,000 children under the age of 5. Our goal is to reach 60% of those children, or roughly 10,000 of them, in our first 3 years. Now, since I crossed from preaching to meddling when I started talking about money, let me just say that we would welcome contributions of all sizes and make sure they go directly to having another child or other children receive a new book each month until they turn 5. As you've likely guessed by now, my real bone to pick is not with Robert Fulghum and what he learned or didn't learn in kindergarten. Instead, it is with all of us as a community and as a country that hasn't yet ensured that every child has the same opportunity that he did in kindergarten and beyond. But with your help and the help of others, we can.
At this time in our service, we recognize the joys and concerns of our community. I would like to light a candle for my sister Holly, whom many of you guys know. She just underwent a major surgery as part of her reconstruction from breast cancer, and she's having a rough time of it. So if you guys would send her some mental strength and joy and well wishes, I know she would appreciate that. There are no other joys or concerns right now, so we're going to light one final candle for those that are not shared but still felt in our hearts. Usually at this time in our service, the congregation makes its financial offering. This is also pledge time for the 2022 budget year. So if you got something in the mail that asks for your pledge, this is a friendly reminder to send it in. There are also many other ways for you to support your fellowship. You can mail it to our office, or you can go to our Facebook page or the uuamarillo.org website. And now for the announcements. While we are not meeting in person, some groups are still meeting. The Nothing Much Buddhist group meets on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. on Zoom. Go to their Facebook page for more information. Also, on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., the Knowledge Seekers meets here at the fellowship. Of course, masks and social distancing are observed. And now to extinguish the chalice. May the glow of this flame continue to shine upon you. May love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
May the fellowship of this hour touch and move our hearts until we meet again.